In this lesson, we're going to look at a really essential animation called morphing. So we're going to go over different types of examples to exactly show you what this morphing does and how it could be used throughout your motion graphics animations. So let's go ahead and import our project. Just bring that in as composition. But mainly we're going to start with the stuff we have in After Effects, which is the shape tool and the text tool. And then we'll get into this later. Let's make a new composition. Call this morph. All right, so basically what morphing means is when one object turns into another in a really smooth fashion. So it does not slowly transition, it just goes whoosh and it changes into something. An example would be to get your rectangle tool or any other shape. Let's go ahead and draw something. All right. And also draw something that you want this rectangle to morph to. So let's go for a circle. I'm going to draw a circle. You can hold down Shift for a perfect shape. Let's change the, we can keep the color. All right, so I have two shapes right now in two separate layers, as you can see. This is the circle, and this is the rectangle. So let's rename our layers, really important. We're going to name this rectangle, and this one circle. So I want my circle to appear first, and then I want my circle to turn into a rectangle. That's when the morphing comes in. So we're going to open up circle, contents, ellipse 1, open that, ellipse path 1. Want to right click on this, convert to Bezier path, and now it's just path 1. It's no longer ellipse path 1. It's really essential. Let's open up the path, and we're going to go forward in time to where we want this transition to happen. So let's say 1 second for me. Zoom in like that. 1 second, I'm going to turn on the path keyframe. All right. And then we're going to do the same thing on the rectangle, which is our second shape. So you open up this, then you go to contents, rectangle 1, rectangle path 1, right click, convert to Bezier path, open path 1. But for this one, we're not going to turn on the keyframe. Instead, we're going to copy the path. So click the path, Control C, come on this path, move it forward, Control V. All right. So now this dude, let me expand it so we get to see. It slowly turns into a rectangle, just like that. Right, but you can see that it's kind of robotic. There's like a pause, and based off what we know so far, to make things more smooth, we can simply easy ease those keyframes by selecting them and hitting F9, or you could select them, right click, keyframe assistant, go to easy ease. So now it's going to look a lot more smooth compared to the robotic thing that we have. And obviously, if you bring these in closer, the transition time will be faster. So you can choose whether you want it to be quick or whether you want it to be slow. Okay, and one more thing is that if you want this guy to be a rectangle, but then you want it to turn into a triangle, you can work with the points that you see right here. But the thing is that you got to make sure that you work with the points that are in the shape. And this also means that you have to go back and make sure the new points that you added did not disturb the circle or the rectangle. So if I go in a few frames forward and get my pen tool, let's say I want to make a triangle, I would have to bring both of these points in instead of deleting one. Then I have to go back to my rectangle. Okay, everything is okay. My circle, it is a little bit less curved. You could just simply fix that. And now I added a third shape by just working with the shapes that we have. So what happens when you delete a point? Let's bring this guy back. And if I delete this guy, we already get a warning. This happens. So my circle is weird and my rectangle is not even there anymore. It's a right triangle now, but the triangles are there. So this would mean that I have to go back on my keyframe and, at a point, fix my circle, which is just time consuming. So the best thing to do is to just work with the points that are in that shape. So as you saw, I've made this triangle with 4 points, even though I only needed 3. So I just brought in these 2 points together to make a triangle. Okay. So we can also do something to kind of add to this motion if you want it to be faster. One way is to, let's get rid of the triangle. One way is to select both keyframes, go to your speed graph, and just bring those, get your move tool, don't work with a pen tool. Pull in these sides. So this is going to make the thing more smooth, as you saw. You can see there's like a little pause and it gets quick. So you could add that, or you could only keep one, hit Control Z. So we only brought in one side. We go back. It's different. So it's going to be fast in the beginning and then it's going to slow down like that. Another way to make this better, another thing that you can do is to look at the transition. So go over it slowly and you can see that our circle is actually rotating to become this rectangle. We could add a simple rotation animation to make this better. I'm going to delete the rectangle. We don't need this. We just needed the path that we copied. Just delete that. Now we only have the circle. Okay, so let's open up the transform properties. So contents, we're done with this. Go to transform or hit R on circle and match the time with the first keyframe. Let's turn on rotation, move in, and just go to the times where it's like rotating, which would be here. Bring it to 0 degrees here. So first it's 0, but here it's rotating this way. Let's go for positive 90 degrees. So we kind of added to that, although we did it the opposite way. We added to the rotation that the circle does. But here we just want it to be normal. Until here it's rotating, so hit 90 here. And then here we want it to be 0. So you could add a rotation. I added 180 instead of 90. And you can bring these in close. So it looks faster, the rotation effect. Without these, this is how it would rotate. So if you add these two in the center, it would look like this. It's spinning faster. Then we can obviously hit F9 and work with the speed. Maybe bring them in a little bit closer. All right, so it's all up to you. Okay, so this was the circle, the shape thing. We can also do it with more complicated things. So I'm going to go hit U on circle so we get our path. Going to draw a more complicated shape like a star. So let's go ahead and draw a star. Okay, bring that on top of our rectangle. Let's make it similar size. All right. Now, this is the same thing. Go on Polystar Path 1, convert it, open that up, the path, and then Control C. Can delete this star layer now. Then on path for the circle, we can go ahead and just hit Control V. So we now have a circle, a rectangle, and a star. Just like that. And if you guys see that your shape is jumping to the other side like it is right now, you can simply hit P on circle for position. Let's turn it on and hit U so I get all three. we want it to move into one side, right? So go forward and just bring it to the center, which is where the other shapes were. Let's have a look at the speed. And now let me hit F9 as well. Now it's not jumping around, it's right where the other ones were. And you could also maybe add a rotation. So we're going to go here, make another keyframe for rotation, move it forward. And I want this star, like this tip, to be straight, so I can just add to the rotation. There we are. Make this happen before, like during the transition from the rectangle to the star. And now I have a upright star. And you could just go on with these shapes. Additionally, you guys can make, just use the pen tool, not the shape tool, if you want to make a weird shape yourself. Let's go ahead and make something weird with curves if you want. Position it on top of your current shape, which is a star. In our case, contents, shape 1. But this one, we don't need to convert it. It's already path 1. So just simply open it, Control-C, delete it, hit U on circle to get the path, select path, and then Control-V here. So now we have this other shape. For this one, we do have the same position problem. So over here, let's select position first and move it to where the right position is. So that would be here. All right, so these are the shapes. You could just go on and add as many shapes as you want, whether you use the pen tool or the, let me hit B here and then N here so we can have a looping playback. Whether you use the shape tool or the pen tool, you can make as many shapes as you want, maybe even draw out the letters yourself, although we're going to see how we can do this with text, so don't worry about that. And in the next lesson, we're going to go over the text morphing, which is a really cool additional element that you could add to your motion graphic projects. You can add it in your advertisements or just some looping animations. And it's just a really professional yet fun touch that you can add. So I'll see you guys in the next lesson.